Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today I want to finally get around to talking about Hulk and Red Hulk. Now, when the patch notes initially dropped, I was very happy and so proud of us, the community, for getting Hulk fixed. I know it wasn't directly us. We cannot assume causation because there is correlation, but I can't help but think in my deepest recesses of my mind that we did have an impact and that we did push them to, if not do the upgrade outright, at least to put it in the forefront of their mind and make it a bigger priority on their list of things to fix and improve and, you know, introduce into the game. The Red Hulk one, we weren't expecting as much as the Hulk one, but we got one, and you know, the only thing better than one is actually two. So 1 + 1 is what we're gonna take, guys. So let's get into talking about what they changed about these two characters, these two beloved giants, and then we'll see just how well they perform in a small stress test against the world boss. So first of all, Hulk, the complaints against him are plenty, or at least they were plenty. He's too slow, his skills don't do enough damage, or they're too you know, weak in terms of their vulnerability. There's no iframes. The uniform, you know, there's not a balance between his uniforms, and he doesn't heal. That was probably the biggest one that people said. Hulk should heal. Hulk has regenerative properties. The Hulk in the comic books can withstand, you know, a meteor dick punch, and he'll get back up in a matter of minutes. And so the regenerative properties were the thing that Netmarble focused on in their upgrade. Before, the old enraged 4-star passive was a pathetic below 50% HP, all attack 5%, all speed 5%, crit rate 5%. So it's just that bottom list that you're seeing there for 5 seconds being triggered, and it was only activated once you went below 50%, and then if you went back up above 50%, you would lose that enraged bonus. Now they've included an excellent 15% max HP recovery, which gets triggered instantly, and now there's a cooldown of 10 seconds, so even if your HP drops and stuff like that, it actually doesn't matter. This one no longer requires you to be below 50%, which actually below 50% is quite dangerous because a lot of world bosses and a lot of high-end content can one-shot you from 50%. So it's really good that they changed it to a 25% hit rate. I think 25% is a little bit low still. I would like to see that a little bit higher because there's still a 10-second cooldown. So it's not like you could have this proccing like crazy. If they had it even at 40%, I think it would be a lot more you know, satisfying, but this is honestly better than nothing. And with a 10-second cooldown, you could play with Hulk and you can just smash face. He gets hit, he pops the heal, and then once you get the heal, you switch out, wait 10 seconds, kite, go back at it, smash with Hulk, do your thing. But on top of that, Hulk also got an overloaded rework to his Gamma Overload Tier 2 passive. So for reference again, the old Tier 2 passive had a 45% chance to trigger when he got hit, which is bad because you don't want a Tier 2 passive to be hit dependent. And then he would get an all speed 25% buff for 8 seconds, super armor and all defense up 40% for 8 seconds. 40% is good, but 8 seconds is not. And then he would get a 25% increase to his physical attack for 8 seconds. And that was on a 15-second cooldown. So less than half the time when he got hit, he would buff himself briefly for about 8 seconds, and then you'd have to kite around for another 7 seconds before you could do that all over again. Now, the Tier 2 passive is excellent. This is a very strong Tier 2 passive. All incoming damage reduced by 35%. That's excellent. That's a very high number. Super armor, so you don't have to worry about rolling an immune to guard break obelisk. All defense up 15%, and I've already mentioned in a previous video that Hulk has very high defenses even for a combat character, so that's great. And then also a bonus to his skill damage and bonus damage, and it enhances the effect of his skill Enraged. So that's really, really good. Makes the character a lot tankier, makes him heal, and makes him a lot stronger and especially dangerous at tier 2. So Hulk just went from 0 to hero real fast. I am so happy to see this. And as far as gearing Hulk goes now, if you have him at tier 1 or tier 2, you absolutely want to slap recovery rate obelisk on him if you have one. Something like this, it may not be ideal, but it's very close to ideal. I think instead of the HP proc, you should have an invincibility obelisk, or like an invincibility proc, and then have either recovery rate if you want to double dip, or something like recovery rate defense penetration, recovery rate ignore dodge. You could even have stun resist because he already has immune to guard break with the super armor if he's tier 2, so you can really mix and match, but you definitely want to get recovery rate on there. And I just think this is a very good and very thematically accurate upgrade to the Hulk. I still feel like he should have gotten a change to one of his skills to at least make one of them iframes. That would probably have put the character over the top for me and made him excellent. I feel like for especially Hulk Slam is a very long and admittedly cool animation, but it doesn't have an iframe, which, you know, still puts him in danger and in harm's way. But overall, I am so happy with Hulk's upgrade, and I'm really curious what you guys think. I'm curious how you have gotten on with your Hulks. I know some people have already been telling me in the live stream that they've done really well with their Hulks, tier 1, tier 2, you know, clearing game modes that they never thought they would have cleared before with him, and I'm so happy to hear that, guys. That's exactly what we want out of these iconic characters who were kind of left behind. We want to be able to advance with them. We want to be able to achieve things with them instead of just relying on the meta characters of the moment. And the second character that we got an upgrade for was Red Hulk. We weren't actually expecting one for him, or at least I think my ear to the ground in the community wasn't expecting Red Hulk to necessarily get an upgrade. He didn't seem like he was in a very good place, so to speak, but there were a lot of other characters ahead of him that were in a worse place. You know, he has a self-buffing leadership. He had some good skills in terms of you know, perma-stunning characters and killing high-level Shadowlands bosses, something that even the Hulk couldn't do. So people thought he was doing pretty well, but Netmarble thought otherwise, and they decided to kill two birds with one stone, because, I mean, as far as this update goes, their aim is amazing. So for reference, the both 4-star passive and the tier 2 passive for Red Hulk were altered or edited, much in the same way that Hulk's were for his discussion that we just had. So his 4-star passive Absorb Radiation went from being a below 50% health triggerable passive, which I think those passives are just terrible. Unless they trigger at a very high health, like Gwenpool's 90% or even 75, 50 is just way too low. But anyways, it used to be applying an all attack, all speed crit rate buff of 10% all across the board when he gets below 50%. Pretty lackluster 4-star passive. Now, really great. 15% when attacking, heals himself for 10% and gives him an all speed, all attack crit rate bonus. Very similar to the Hulk's and excellent, especially when paired with his Marvel Now uniform. The second rework to the Red Hulk was his Overheat tier 2 passive. Now before, his tier 2 passive was below 25% health, which is abysmally low. He would get all speed 8%, 2 seconds of invincibility, and 45% physical attack up. The physical attack 45% is fantastic, but the rest of that is just horrendous. This was one of the worst tier 2 passives in the game. You basically had to suicide Red Hulk into your enemy and then just spaz on him for 2 seconds. Luck maybe 5 seconds if you had your obelisk proc at the same time, because the 2 seconds of his tier 2 passive and the 5 seconds of the obelisk's invincibility proc would overlap, so you're only getting 5 seconds total, which is still so trash. Anyways, they upgraded that horrible tier 2 passive to all incoming damage reduced by 30% with an increase to both skill and bonus damage, and enhancing the effect of Absorb Radiation. So not as good as the Hulk's, but I really like that they thematically made him kind of like the little brother of the Hulk. Not that he is the little brother of the Hulk in the comic books. They actually go toe-to-toe, Red Hulk and Green Hulk, on several occasions, and you know, they kind of have each other's card in certain matchups. But I really like that they made them thematically similar but not the same. I'm very happy with that. Much like the Hulk, if you don't have a recovery rate obelisk on your Red Hulk, you definitely want one there. However, you also want an increased fire damage to take advantage of the fact that he does elemental damage. If you have his uniform, he becomes an absolute monstrous tank. He gets his own immunity skill on his third attack. He gets a double dip on the HP recovery from his uniform triggering, so you get 15% on top of the original 10% from Absorb Radiation, and he just becomes nigh unkillable. This is getting close to Moon Knight tier 2 levels if you have the uniform and if you have an excellent recovery rate obelisk with an invincibility proc. Because if you can get his invincibility to proc at 50%, if you get a lucky roll on your obelisk, then when he gets to 50% from his uniform, he will also immediately gain back 15% of his health, and that's every 7 seconds. So as long as he doesn't get killed within those 7 seconds, but you're going to be invincible for 4 or 5 of those seconds, then they only have a 2-second window with which to one-shot you. I mean, otherwise they have to one-shot you after that, but then he can still recover health when he's attacking with absorb radiation, and then if you do get him down to 50% again, the whole thing just repeats itself again like Groundhog Day. So Red Hulk, also fantastic update, definitely becomes a serious contender for, you know, clearing world boss, high Shadowlands level, stuff like that. Doesn't quite make it into the top list of the meta characters, but definitely no slouch, no pushover, and both Hulk and Red Hulk are now proudly representing the big monstrous steroid family that they hail from. So let's go and check out how they fare in a world boss against Proxima Midnight. I have procured some teams for them to benefit the most from. As far as Red Hulk goes, I have a little bit lower expectations for him because I don't have a recovery rate obelisk on him. I could not roll one, but he is going to get 60% increased fire damage and then a really nice 10% max HP from this team up. I don't want to use any overpowered teammates, so I'm just going to go with some regular stuff, and I think it would be pretty cute to use recovery rate strikers. I am going to use one that is tier 2, but it's considered the weaker of the two instead of Groot, and we're going to see if we can take advantage of at least 50% recovery and see if with strikers alone his HP recovery is enough to get him through this fight. With his uniform, I have absolutely no doubt that he would stomp all over Proxima in bloody murder. Because I've seen videos of him with the uniform and it's absolutely insane. But barring his uniform, I'm just going to have to go for it. Despite that attack, I have to keep that one out of the way because I don't want to get shotgunned by the hits there. But you can see I procced for about 4,000 HP, which is not bad at all, considering I don't even have a recovery rate obelisk. If I did, that number would be a lot higher. We could probably get that closer to 8,000 with the right setup. I mean, we are using, you know, specific strikers, but you guys can see there that obelisk, or that 4-star passive is proccing a lot. We're going to switch here just to avoid that damage, but I'm pretty well face tanking with Red Hulk and getting away with it. And that's what you're supposed to do with the Hulks. You know, the Hulks are not supposed to finesse you. They're not supposed to, you know, dance around and shit. They're just supposed to go right for your throat and end the fight as soon as possible. So I like that they made that a possibility. If not a strong one, then at least one where you're going to get stun locked and die, which Red Hulk just did. But it wasn't so bad. In 1 minute, I brought the boss down to half life, and that was just button mashing, going straight for it with, you know, no strategy whatsoever. So I'm sure with a little bit more, you know, strategy and a little bit more of a setup, the Red Hulk could do wonderful things in World Boss. The last team up I want to do is for our main man, Bruce Banner. He is finally getting the redemption he deserves, and I'm going to set him up with this team for the most badges possible and a lot of help as far as bonuses go for him. So we're going to check out how he fares. So this is not meant to be a stress test or a very strong indication of the high-end possibilities of the character. This is probably average to below average indication of a character's skill as far as the Hulks are concerned, because I'm really not putting a lot of strategy into my game plan. I'm just kind of going for broke here and kind of playing the Hulks the way they would play themselves if they were in the game, just button mashing and you know, going straight for the kill with very little strategy. You can see that the heal is proccing pretty often, and you know, it's really keeping Hulk. Thank you for the Dimension Rift. It's really keeping Hulk in this fight, despite the fact that he's you know, trying to keep himself out of it by taking so much damage. And he has already taken a lot of damage, but he's still up and kicking. He still has half of his health left. Meanwhile, She-Hulk does not. But we're gonna see if he can. He's already gotten further than the Red Hulk. And I basically employed the same strategy for both, so you can see just how far just having a recovery rate obelisk really takes these Hulks with their new upgrades, and you know, the very smallest bit of strategy as far as switching goes. So I am super happy with the new Hulk's upgrades. I think they're fantastic. I think they're thematically sound, and I think the fact that you can button mash with these characters and get away with it just, you know, really fulfills the dream that a lot of people had for the Hulks, and even that I had. So I'm super happy about this, and we cleared it, guys. You know, this just speaks to what the Hulk should be. Just a machine, a wrecking ball, just bashing through everyone with, you know, careless disregard and wanton abandon. So that's it for it, guys. I'll quickly show you the gears for these characters. They're both pretty well geared, but they're both tier 1 characters. I don't have any Uru. I don't have any ascended ISO sets. They would probably both benefit more from a defensive set, given how tanky they are now, and especially for Red Hulk, because he already boosts himself up with his leadership. He doesn't need more of that. So, you know, an HP bubble or I Am Also Groot, something like that, would probably be great for both of them. My Hulk is almost ready for tier 2, boys, but we're probably not going to get there anytime soon just because we don't have a pressing need for it. But as you can see here, Hulk, thank you for the Dimension Rift, Mark, is not much better geared than the Red Hulk. Again, he probably should get a defensive or a healing ISO set because he doesn't need more damage, although he may need it a little bit more than Red Hulk does because his 30% physical is inferior to the 60% fire, and he's way overboard on his cooldown because of Hawk's Eye. So they're sub-optimized characters, but they still manage to do a decent amount of damage, if not outright kill the world boss with just straight up button mashing, no overpowered strikers, and, you know, pretty decent gears, but nothing, you know, stupendous. So I'm really curious what you guys think about the new Hulks. I want to hear all the feats of strength and all the world breaking that you guys have been doing with Hulk and Red Hulk. So hit me up in the comments. Let me know how you feel about the Jolly Green Giant and his red brother. And of course, guys, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.